Hello, Sharon. Sorry, I'm trying to find it on my computer. Hello, Miranda. Alright, there's. Hey, Sarah. Just. You declined it. Let's try it again. Maybe.
I think.
Hello, Holly. I don't see you on the camera.
I don't see you either. I'm gonna leave and come back. He's an outs person. Take two. Okay, it worked. Alright. Apparently my chair needs to be higher. There we go.
Okay. There we go. I can see you on my
You can see
computer.
me on your phone?
Yeah, okay, I read your lips. You said, "Am I on my phone?" Yes.
Can you not hear me?
It was delayed. Now I heard
Oh,
you.
that's weird.
Oh, this is gonna be odd.
Yeah. Apparently Facebook is being a little weird.
We both look weird on the screen, though.
Oh, fun. Do you want me to leave and try coming back again?
Meh. We'll just roll with it.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with Facebook.
I'm gonna try to push as far as I can. See if that helps me a little bit.
So my computer, I loaded up the notes, but then an animal unplugged the Ethernet cord, so I am not, if you type anything, I can't see. But I can see the notes just fine. I
Alright.
just don't feel like sprinting out there to plug the Ethernet cord back in, and since I'm using this like day and age old ThinkPad, there's no Wi-Fi on. So,
I'm gonna work my best with remembering that it's super zoomed in on me when I go to show things,
oh
but
my
I
gosh,
can
I'm
see
gonna be
comments just fine on my phone as of right now. So I'm gonna jump over to our document.
okay.
Um, I will also edit the title. I just needed to type something up quick because I was having technical issues.
No worries. I can see comments on my phone, so that's good. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to tell you what's going on with your video because my computer's a dinosaur and I can't pull up Facebook on it. So, like, Facebook crashes the whole thing. So.
No worries. All right. So, welcome back, everybody.
And if you're watching the replay here on Facebook or on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us, and feel free to comment throughout the video as if it's happening live, and we will respond to you. I'm going to put my cat out of my room before we get too far into this. But with all of our old tarot videos, if you check out Cheyenne's channel, that's where most of them are. If you're seeing like a missing month, then it's on my channel, usually only due to technical issues.
All right. So, going over the last program, our feedback. I can say that I'm a little confused on reading after reading some of y'all's feedback. Um, but as far as the program itself, I feel like everything went all right. You guys reached out if you had questions. You weren't afraid to ask questions when you got confused. I know chat was a little low this time, but I had a lot going on, and I know Sarah did too.
Yeah, my life was like falling apart a little bit during the last program. So sorry, guys. I was a little spacey, but just like life gets to all of us, it gets to me and Cheyenne too. So if the group chat's ever not really that active, just because Cheyenne and I aren't making it active, if you guys want to participate in it or say anything tarot related, you can. And if you don't want to, then the chat can just be slow. It's all right.
Absolutely. Other than that, I think it was all around a decent program, and I think you guys did great stepping out of your comfort zones.
Yeah, we were kind of asking a lot with that one, so I expected there to be a couple bumps, and I think we did really good. Let's hop into you guys' feedback. So let's start with the first question was, things are going a little better for me. A little, still not that great, but a little better. I hope things are going well for you, Cheyenne, that Miranda was saying.
It's getting there.
So did you enjoy participating this time around? Everybody said yes, which we think that's usually a common thing. We usually get a lot of yeses. And then, so this time around, we didn't have people have more than one partner just because of some goofy little Facebook errors. And then also, if there's an odd number of people, then usually Cheyenne or I would just have the extra partner. But we thought about this, like just asking you guys if anybody wanted an extra partner. So the people that ended up with an extra partner, they really did enjoy that. So that's nice. People also enjoyed having specific styles of readings, like since we did the aura in the past life, and that is something we will do in the future. So I'm glad you guys liked it. Also, people really do enjoy the video call option with doing the readings, but I think everyone who, even if you really like doing the video call, if your partner either doesn't want to or isn't able to that time, I appreciate everybody for being patient and understanding with that. Even if you prefer it, it's very nice to be accommodating to your partner, and we really appreciate that. Miranda says, yes, that was really cool. Love the style and theme. Well, stay tuned because we do have more of that to come. We do space it out so that way it stays fresh, but we will do that again. And then
Absolutely.
moving on to communication. Sorry, Cheyenne, not being able to see you makes that a pain.
I know. I'm gonna, when you read, I want to be on my computer, but then I feel like I'm gonna miss my part.
It's okay if you miss your part, I will just casually draw attention to you. That's all right. So for communication, like Shai was mentioning, we had our ups and our downs, but with the unpredictability of life, that is just kind of bound to happen. And that's something that we really appreciate about how laid back the Tarot program is everyone there is just not judgmental and very understanding that life happens. And it's really just a fun thing. Like we kind of hound the rules a little bit at the end of the live, but that's just so that way all the bases are covered. But it's pretty laid back and it's usually really nice. But being busy or having life emergencies can really slow down communication, and we appreciate everyone's patience with their partners. I will say, especially my partner on the last year of program, my literal like best friend, my dog, passed away on my birthday, right in the middle of the program, and that just like ripped everything to shreds. And I'm gonna be honest, my partner was kind of a saving grace during that time, and I thank her a lot for that. She was like a nice little place to lean because that was just a wreck. But with communication, I will say that we did have some feedback issues, but we're gonna address that later because that needs its own clarity. So moving into some, yeah, Miranda, I appreciate your apologies. That was just not fun. But moving on to program improvements. So one of the things someone asked about improving was explanation of proper feedback. And I will touch the feedback base in a little bit. So also somebody said more spreads and themes, and we do include these like pretty often because of the high demand, how much you guys like them. But we do have months where we don't do like a spread or we don't do a super heavy theme, and that's because we want to keep everything like having variation, and we don't want to, like muddle one thing down to where it gets kind of boring. We want everything to stay fresh. Also, somebody did request if they could request the age range of their partner. And I will say a way that we could include this, but sort of like meeting you guys halfway, is if you were to see a partner that you really like to like do a reading with on the signups, because you can see everybody that signs up because they'll be putting their comment in, you know, whatever GIF we ask for. So if you see somebody that you're like, I really want to do a reading with that person, you could reach out to myself or Cheyenne and let us know. I will say, if you do that, you're not guaranteed to get that partner, but you are more likely because you got to keep in mind that sometimes partners repeat, but we try our best to mix it up so that way you're not always reading for the same person. So if you request somebody that you've never read with, chances are 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to get that partner. But if it's somebody that you've read with a lot, it's just going to depend on who else is in the sign because we want to keep it fresh. You know what I mean? But you can always ask. It doesn't hurt to ask.
I try my best to keep it as randomized and as different as possible. Like if I see that you've been partnered with the same person twice, I try to make sure it gets mixed up again, even if it was random the first time and the second time and the third time.
Yeah, but then like, you know, sometimes we have months where we only have like a couple people sign up, so you're gonna read for somebody that you've read for. But if we have a lot, you know, like Cheyenne was saying, we try to mix it. So suggestions for future lives. Someone asked for a live clarification of what feedback is. We're not going to do a live on this, but we're going to touch this base pretty heavily in just a minute. So somebody else requested a live for using 2 decks at once. We did do this in 2 different lives, one more than the other, but I'll give you the title and the date that they were posted. They'll probably be on Cheyenne's YouTube channel. It might be on mine. I'm not going to like...
They're on mine.
Okay, good. Because I was like, I didn't check, but they're probably on yours.
I know exactly which ones they are, and they are. I know I can figure out the exact link.
Okay, you can put the links on there, but the title is one of them is Additional Divination, including other cards, and we did that in August 2024. And then we also have the second live, which is different tarot decks, reviewing decks, knowing when to choose them, and using more than one. And we did this January 2025. So obviously the second one that I just said is going to be like really going over 2 cards, but Additional Divination also touches on that. Oof. So another live suggestion was going over rune readings and tea leaf readings. I will say if you have live topic suggestions that are not tarot related, please suggest these in your clan chats. Send them to any crone, even if it's not your clan crone. We also have a post in the features tab of Unseen where you can suggest future lives. On the tarot feedback form, we are only asking for future tarot related lives. We do appreciate that you guys are very eager for knowledge, but in this tarot related form, it is only tarot series related videos. There are a lot of other places where you could suggest other lives. That being said, we do have previous rune lives. There are 3 of them that Crystal made, and then there is a future rune series that Crystal has scheduled. Check out the event tab to see upcoming lives. And then I can pass along the tea leaf reading suggestion to the crone chats. And then also if anybody else is wanting something, you can just go send it to your clan chat, send it to a crone, or put it on that post. And then the last live suggestion was going over love and relationship readings. And yes, that is already in the books. We already have a live that we are going to do that with. We're going to be adding more details to the tarot live events post, like the, what the heck am I saying?
Bear with me.
The events that people are going to, like, what the heck am I saying, Cheyenne? Can you, like, word that? It's not going out.
Go into the descriptions of the event so you know what we're actually going over in the upcoming tarot lives.
I was like, I know what I'm trying to say. It's just not coming out.
Your brain just wasn't functioning. It's okay.
Yeah, the cogs were turning, but like nothing was exiting. So with the would you participate again? Everybody did say yes. People really enjoy friendships that they make, and that's something I'm really glad about. The tarot program really has started friendships. And then also just really enjoying the complete judgment-free zone for readings, because it really is. We do not tolerate anybody being judgy. So for the last little section of going over feedback, talking about the aura and past life specifically. It looks like most people did past life readings. And a thing to remember though when you're doing an aura reading is that the aura color has to be related back in the reading. Like it has to be related back to an aura color. Or if it's just talking about your energy but not related to the aura, then it's more of a personal energy reading rather than an aura reading. And then also a key thing to remember when doing past life readings is it can tie to the current life, but there has to be information, conversation, or just sustenance regarding your past life, or it kind of turns into like, if it's only about how your past life affects this life and it's only about this life, it can kind of fall more into like a karma tarot reading rather than a past life reading. It has to be about that past life. We just wanted to clarify on that real quick before we moved on.
Overall, you guys had given really good feedback. You guys really enjoyed it. Just remember when you are doing those types of read that you need to be a little bit more specific when talking about a past life. That past life really does need to, that past has to be there, and you can talk about the karmic debt, but you gotta tell them how that came from their past life. There's got to be information there. Now, as far as feedback, feedback is not 1 to 2 sentences. How can you give somebody feedback in 1 to 2 sentences? Feedback is thoughtful. It's what you felt when you listened or read the read, however the reading was done. It's, did it resonate with you? Did you agree with it? Did it take part in a part of your life where they are saying it did? Or did it take part in your life in somewhere where that it didn't, but it still makes sense? Did it not? Did nothing in that read make sense to you? Did you need more clarification? All of these things add to a feedback, and that is usually more than 2 sentences. Okay, it is not usually, it is always more than 2 sentences.
Yeah, so like Cheyenne was saying, feedback is not just 1 to 2 sentences. You have to think about it this way. Let's say someone typed you a reading. If your read, like if you what you're reading typed literally takes up more than your phone screen or is like, I don't know, like 20 plus sentences, then 2 sentences in response to that doesn't really feel like adequate feedback. On the same token, if I was to send an 8-minute reading to somebody and their feedback was 4 seconds and it was, thank you for the reading, thank you for your energy, it resonates with me, that's not feedback. That's just like kind of like a
That's a
robot
thank you.
response. Yeah, like it's just like, it's like, I appreciate the read, thanks. It's not really giving something, you know what I mean? So if I was to give proper feedback, you can say, thank you for your time and energy for doing this reading, it resonates with me, here's why. And then you talk about the key things that resonated with you in this reading. Maybe you don't want to get personal to your life. You can just be like, when you were talking about card number 2 and you said these things, it was really accurate. But when you talked about card number 3 and you said like the third point that you said, I got a little lost there. Maybe in the future it will resonate with me. You just have to add something to it. Make it seem like you actually know what the reading said and you actually listened to it and digested it. Because you have to think about it. If somebody's taking their time and energy to give you the reading, you taking a little time and energy to give them back proper feedback is, 1, going to help them grow as a reader. 2, it's just nice to do. And 3, it's required for the tarot program. So if you don't want to give proper feedback, don't sign up. I know that might sound a little blunt, but that's the best way that I can put that.
It's a true statement. I'm right. It's just thoughtful, guys. It shows that you actually paid attention to your person and that it did mean something to you. Whether or not it resonated it meant something that somebody took their time to give you this.
Yeah, your feedback could be this reading didn't resonate with me at all, and here's why. And it could be maybe it will resonate with you in the future. Maybe the reading was just a miss, but it's still just acknowledgement that you got the reading. If anybody has any future questions on feedback or like feedback with receiving it, like is this adequate feedback, or feedback with giving it, you can reach out to myself, you can reach out to Cheyenne, you can reach out to the Tarot Program group chat, or you can comment on this live or YouTube video. But enough with that, and let's go ahead and get into the fun stuff. So introduction to today's live. Today we are going over non-traditional colors and imagery, basically how to utilize and deep dive the cards. So that mouthful said, we're going over the cards non-traditionally, all of them, just like we did with the traditional cards. Now we're doing it non-traditionally. Oh, and today is the part 1 of that, and we are doing the going over the basics and the major arcana.
What do we mean by non-traditional tarot readings? Reference our old lives for a more in-depth breakdown. That live would have been September of 2024, in-depth breakdown of the reading process. But a quick recap, no spreads, card limits, and specific questions are needed. More cards does not mean more or equal to more detail. Shuffling and pulling styles, using different and multiple decks, card positioning, falling out dramatically, flailing to the floor, slanted cards, left versus right, horizontal cards, numerology, suits and minor versus major arcana, what the energy of the card is telling me it means versus traditional meaning. The example I had put here would be the devil card. The devil in the traditional meaning versus non-traditional, I could look at the devil and say, well, all of your accomplishments are right in front of you because I can see that your aura color is shining through this very beautiful redness that I can see in the background of his card. Symbolism on the card. Different perspectives allow symbols to be perceived differently. Just because there's a cross, some people can think healthcare, others can think religion, some think family, and so forth. Coloring on cards. Pink doesn't have to mean love. It could mean that somebody had childhood trauma and they associate that color with that. Or blue could mean happiness instead of sadness and rain. Yellow could mean anger instead of happiness and joy in the sun. So on and so forth. Sharon said, this is my first tea on tarot, so I have some questions on reading the cards. Do we mail our readings to our partners, or do the readings go through Facebook Messenger?
So,
go ahead.
Sorry.
This whole not seeing each other sucks.
Yeah, it does. So for a quick recap on the Tarot Partnership Program, and we'll talk about it more at the end. Basically, there's a sign-up post. You sign up for the reading. The only thing required for the sign-up is that you watch this live in its entirety and you gather the secret word, which will be randomly placed in the live. And then from the sign-up post, you will read everything on the sign-up post and it'll tell you what you need to know. We will send you out a name. You'll be added to the group chat. In the group chat, there will be updates and polls to let you know where you should be. You will be partnered with a random person, which is the name that you will be given. Once you're partnered and in the group chat, you can reach out to your partner via Facebook Messenger. You can let them know in the group chat you message them, but you don't have to send that message. You'll just need to look in your message requests for that person's name. And then you will complete your readings through the Facebook Messenger, whether you do that through typing, whether you do that through voice notes, whether you do that through a Facebook Messenger phone call, is up to you and your partner's discretion. And then all that you're required to do is provide one reading for your partner. They give you one reading, you give them feedback on the reading, they give you feedback on the reading. And then in the main group chat, after the partnership is completely ended, there is a feedback form that is sent where you are giving feedback on the program in its entirety, so that way we can keep the program running on how you guys specifically like it. And then that is a completed tarot partnership program. And if you don't choose to sign up the following month, that's okay. You'll just be removed from the group chat and added back at any time in which you sign up for the reading. And if you have any more questions, you can comment on them here and we'll answer them throughout the live, or you can put them on any of the posts. And if you have questions along the way with signing up, you can put them in the clan chat or reach out to myself or Cheyenne directly. Do you have anything to add, Cheyenne?
Nope. No, I don't.
I figured that would be the best way to explain it.
I appreciate you because you actually given me a little bit of time. I was kind of rolling through my cards here
No
to try
problem.
to pull out
Okay,
the
I'm
major
glad that you
arcana.
got it and that made sense. And hey, Billy Joe, we are just getting started with the actual meat of the live.
All right, so going into the major arcana, which I am working on pulling out of my decks, bear with me. Containing 22 cards,
Archetype?
thank you.
Yeah.
Characters, celestial bodies, objects, virtues, and situations. Traditionally numbered with Roman numerals 0 through 21, cards may reflect major life events, physical or spiritual, and cards representing a path or journey, the Fool's Journey.
And hey, Maria. So, how to break down one card. We're going to go over the cards like we did for non-traditional, but if you like we did for traditional, bear with me, I'm going to do that. So if you weren't here for the traditional series, I'll give you a quick run through. And this live, we're going to just go through the major arcana, the Fool's Journey, like Cheyenne mentioned. If you want a traditional breakdown of the cards, then that we have a 3-part series within the tarot series that you would go to. So for this, with us going through each card, since it's non-traditional, there's no definition to give you for each card. So I'm going to go over a list of different things that we might talk about with each card, but these are things to bear in mind if like that you can also do non-traditionally. So all the sections that we divided each card into in the traditional tarot breakdown can be done in non-traditional readings as well. We will not be doing this for each card, but let's take a moment to discuss how you would do this for yourself. So I will go through this and give Cheyenne some time. So I'm going to just
you.
No worries. Maria, we're not going to be using one specific deck, but the decks that I will be pulling from, because we wanted to have a vast variety of decks since this is non-traditional. So I have the Lightseers Tarot deck. I have the Alice in Wonderland Tarot deck. And I have the traditional Rider-Waite deck, but I will also say I have a few cards sprinkled in that are not from any deck that I own, and they are simply just cards people mailed to me, and I wanted to include them because it's a deck that I don't have, and it would just show more variety of the cards. But then if you go to our traditional video, then we're using more specific decks, but we really wanted a vast variety. So non-traditionally, let's say we wanted to figure out what element this is the Fool card from Alice in Wonderland. So let's say we wanted to see what element this represents. Well, non-traditionally, I could go nature because I see a lot of greenery, but I could also go water because there's water right here. But let's look at her hair flowing backwards. Maybe her hair flowing backwards and the whiskers of this cat going backwards made me think air. And so all of these could be ways that I could figure out the element non-traditionally, depending on what is pulling to me, what I notice about this card. So let's go to Zodiac. How could we tell the Zodiac of a card non-traditionally? Well, it could be done a numerous of ways. It could be, let's say there's an animal on the card. Maybe let's say there was a bull on the card. Then I would probably associate it with Taurus, right? But then I could look at maybe her curious behavior and associate it to a zodiac that is very curious. You know what I mean? Or maybe if it was a card where it looked like she was refusing to change her mind, I'm going to associate her to Taurus, stubborn. So therefore, if you know what I mean, it's just with a vibe that you get from the card. So then planet. Again, if there's something specifically that relates you to a planet, maybe you're seeing a lot of red. Maybe that's giving you Mercury. Maybe you're seeing a lot of blues. Maybe it's giving you Neptune. Maybe, like, I don't know why, but I'm just feeling Pluto for this card. I don't
Yes.
know. That's just the vibe I'm getting. I'm getting Pluto. If I had to pick a planet for this card, it's going to be Pluto. So for numerology, it could be the Fool, so I could go 0, but that's traditional. So maybe I'm looking at how many flowers do I see? How many rocks do I see? How many people are there? What is calling to me? And you'll recognize a pattern, and then there's your number. Maybe you literally see a number somewhere in the card, just hidden in like the white or the grays of the image. Day of the week, again, you're just pulling from things on the cards or how you feel. Yes or no? Is this card looking like a positive card to you? Is this looking like a negative card to you? Maybe it's a maybe. Maybe this card is telling you to don't ask again. Maybe that's the vibe it's giving you. Chakra. It could be colors. It could be symbols on the card. You're just looking to see what the card is pulling to you. I don't know why this card is giving me solar plexus chakra. That's just how I feel looking at the card right now. Maybe I look at the card in 2 weeks and it's not giving me solar plexus chakra whatsoever. Maybe it's giving me something different. Maybe I pull the card 10 minutes later in a different reading for a different person and it's giving me a completely different chakra because it is a non-traditional reading. It does not have to be the same. And then lastly, with deities. What deity is associated to the card? What are you seeing in the card? What is pulling to you? Did you pull the card and just a random deity name that you never think of just pop into your head? Maybe I'd associate that one. So those are the things that we broke down traditionally, and those are some ways that you can figure out those things non-traditionally. You're up?
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Bear with me.
Just letting you know. Billy Joe says she needs to get a second deck. I did not get a second deck of cards until I started in this group. I used my plain old this deck, water damaged, smelling like pineapples. I used it for like 8 years or something before I ended up with a second deck. And I ended up with this Lightseers deck because another one of the fabulous crones, Ellen, gifted it to me, and I loved that deck.
I think I got all of them out of my Celtic because those are the 2 that I want. Bear with me.
Good, I was rambling a lot.
And then I drop things. Alright. So,
The cards.
the cards. We will not be giving the definitions. You went over that because I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You went over that part. So we're going to go over the upright and reverse, general, spiritual, love and relationships, health and healing, money and career, colors, symbols, shapes, numerology, imagery, emotional feelings, sense you may pick up, words, messages in your mind, repeating strong signals.
I do want to clarify one thing that Cheyenne said. We are not going over the general spiritual love relationships, health, healing, and money and career. Those are things that you can still read non-traditionally. But the last section, the colors, symbols, numerology, all of those things, we will be going over those. I wanted to separate that real quick.
Sorry.
That's
I guess
okay.
I should have worded that better.
That's all right. I just separated real quick. It's okay. So Miranda says, I have so many decks, both tarot and oracle, and always have to narrow it down to who is calling me at that time to which I use. That is exactly how most people do it. When you got a lot of decks, what's calling to you for yourself for that reading, or what's calling to you to read for that other person. So let's go ahead and just jump into the cards. So I was already talking about the Fool. The Fool card that I picked to show is from the Alice in Wonderland deck. So if you're looking at this card, we have a lot of different things that you could pull from. You could pull from the sun, you could pull from the trees, you could pull from just the colors, you could pull from the number of stones, you could pull from just the emotions on her face, you could pull from the animal, you could pull from the types of plants. if you want to show your full card, Cheyenne.
Okay, sorry. I was getting ready to ask, is it my turn to pull mine?
Oh, Billy Joe, I get what you mean. Yes, this Alice in Wonderland deck was also gifted to me.
Can we see my full?
Unfortunately, I don't know. It is not helpful.
Give me a second.
I'm sorry.
I gotta pull it over to the Facebook.
Yeah, and then
Waiting
wait
for
for the
Facebook to
awful
catch up.
delay. Yeah. I was hoping that I could get it, and it does not like Facebook.
Alright, it looks like I'm cutting off its head. Let me move it down a little bit. Did I cut
Hopefully
off
once you
it? Can
find
you
this
guys see
card,
its face yet?
actually
Yes,
shot.
I think so. Alright, so I'm gonna start with that and then move my way up.
Sharon says, is that a gnome in that card?
Yes.
Miranda
So,
says, scoot it back, though, a little bit so you show the whole thing. Yes, see the face.
can we... Man,
Thank
I'm
you for
sorry.
working with
This
us,
whole
guys.
zooming thing is driving me nuts.
The zooming thing is literally a piece of crap. I'm about to just say when we do these videos, we put a piece of tape on the table so we can just see where to put the card.
Alright, can everybody see it now?
I'll wait and let you know as soon as somebody types something. Yes, we see it, Billy Joe says. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Perfect. So, on this card, let me move back over to my notes because I don't want to go too in detail.
Miranda
You
says
can
go
pick,
down a bit.
okay. You can
Yes,
pick
a
out,
gnome on a rainbow.
yes.
Thank you for describing it, guys, because I can't see it.
It also has a mushroom as an umbrella.
Oh, that sounds adorable.
This is out of my Celtic tarot deck.
They said it's in
So
a good spot.
you can see his hat is pink. The mushroom is like an orangish brown. You have the rainbow, so that's a multiple colors. It has the stream running down through it, which is a color of blue. The grass is green. All of that stuff is imagery. That is stuff that you can pull from, colors that you can pull from, emotions that it might trigger when you're picking up on it. Maybe you're smelling the fresh grass and that was just cut before the gnome walked through that little, what we could see as a stream is probably just from the hose, but a different perspective. Maybe you pick up on the sound of birds chirping in the background as he's walking through his path. These are little things that we mean when looking at the different cards that you can pick from. When you go back to the traditional type cards, this is a traditional tarot card. Now mine's the holographic one. There's so many different colors that you can pick out of
This is
this.
the deck that she's using, the holographic deck. I have a box for it.
This is my very first deck.
Diane and I
I'm
both
gonna,
have it. Do you want me to show the next card? I
yes,
wasn't
I'm
sure
trying.
if you were waiting. It's okay. I was like,
No, I was
that
trying
got
to
quiet.
see. It wasn't on my top, so I froze for a second.
So next up we have the Magician. So this is from the Lightseers Tarot deck. And so with the Magician, so let's look at some other things that we can pull from, right? We could look at these lines right here, and maybe they look like teardrops to you. So that could be like a symbol that you see. You could see these teardrops. You could also count the bands of different colors for numerology down here in this it's like ring that she has going on. It could also be when you pull this card, if a emotion just really washes over you, then you could pick up on that while you're doing the reading. Also, let's say I pulled this card and just the word solitude kept repeating in my mind. then I would really probably relate that to this card. But then you could also pick up on the colors. You could pick up just on the lighting. See how the lighting is just pointing down right at you? This could be like you're missing a sign from the divine because they're shining a light on you, but you're looking down, so you're not noticing it, and you're just focused in your own little world rather than paying attention to what they're showing you. And that's just from lighting perspective. You could get that. If you want to show your magician card.
It's up. I was just
Awesome.
waiting for you to be done talking.
Thanks.
You're fine. Sorry, I'm being particular. I am showing you guys the traditional cards in the holographic form, but I don't want to talk about the different categories on those cards. I want to talk about them on my Universal Celtic deck, and I didn't get those ones sorted. So I apologize. I might be slightly slow for a second.
I pulled out just a bunch of cards like from all the different decks and just put them in the order of the non-traditional. Some cards I picked more than one to show, but some I just picked one. But I figured if I just put them in like a stack like that before we went live, then that would do the best. But I was frantically throwing cards around my room before we went live. So I have a big mess afterwards to deal with.
I tried to get prepared. I just failed.
That's okay. That's okay. Life
So
happens.
we're gonna work off of the two decks that I know for a fact I have out. I mean, I have my Nightmare Before Christmas deck here, and I have my Acacia Tarot deck here because I was gonna utilize them, but
Well, no
I
worries, because
have
we
the
still have
other
two
two
more.
out.
We still have 2 more lives, so don't worry. You can show off other decks throughout the other
That's true.
ones.
So going on to my Magician, I almost said the Emperor because I was looking at that card. So going on to my Magician, is you can see that he is in the woods. It's dark, it's dreary, but he is standing there with confidence and a purpose. You can get a different, maybe all sorts of different feelings from him. The more you stare at the card, the longer you look around at it. Maybe the colors that are around here, the different greens and blues, purples and blacks, some whites and grays that are in there may trigger some of your thoughts of what this card may be representing. The numerology is on here as one. If you want to add in the numerology standings, and I'm not going to go into them on this live. I did go into them in the traditional though.
Yeah.
Maybe you're picking up a woodsy scent because he's in the woods. Maybe it's a scent that's very familiar to you, or maybe it's a scent that you've never smelled before. Maybe there's different thoughts going through your head of bringing peace or tranquility as you look around at the chalice that's glowing or the pentacle that's in the middle of the rock. Or maybe he's cultivating something from the bowline knife that's laying there. All of these things just can add into what the meaning behind this card is. And then, of course, the holographic version of it as a traditional meaning. He has the traditional red robe. I'm gonna keep flipping it and flopping it, sorry. Traditional red robes with the infinity symbol above his head. He is holding a double sorted candle with an array of different flowers at his feet. On the table in front of him, he has the chalice, the pentagram, or pentacle, and a sword and a staff. All of these different things in the picture that it makes can have some kind of symbolism. Maybe you pick up a specific scent from seeing these flowers that it won't leave your nostrils, and you are like, yes, that's that scent. I believe this has something to do with it. Maybe it's lavender. You just keep smelling lavender, and there's nothing going on with lavender, but that's
Billy
what
Joe
you're
says she.
smelling.
Oh, sorry. Billy Joe says she loves when scents roll in during a reading.
Yes. I love incense when I'm doing readings too.
No, I didn't mean incense. She said she likes it when scents like roll in during a reading, like they just
Hmm.
like you were talking about.
Yeah, I do too. I find it amusing because I could be sitting there and it's just something weird like blueberries. And then that thought goes through your head like, why is that a scent?
Yeah, you're like, what is giving me blueberries? So next
Uh,
up we have the. Oh, are you still going?
no, I was gonna
Okay,
say up
not being able
next.
to see you is making this sometimes. Next up, we have the High Priestess, and so there's a lot of things that we can look at. We can see like the air gushing around right here, so this could represent the. Oh, I'm about to drop everything. This could represent the air element. I'll get it really close. That also has some symbols up in the corners, so we could probably all make different things out of these symbols. We could be counting the numbers of like these white dots, the stars above her. We could pull from the symbology of, the moon piece. We could come down here to her necklace. We could be pulling from this cross. There are a lot of different little symbols. There's some moons on her earrings. So there are a lot of different like symbols that we can make out of this card. She also has eyes that are like eyes that even though her eyes are closed, like it has like the outline of eyes showing like all seeing. And so there's just a bunch of different pieces we could pull from the card. We could come down here. Obviously, there's the two, so we could pull from that. We don't necessarily just have to take the two. We could take any of them. Like we could be, how many buttons does she have? Like right here on her shirt. Yes, four. So we could pull from that. We could also just focus on like the duality of the card, how like if you were to like put the card in half, like how equal is it on one side to the other, talking about balance, talking about yin and yang. Like you could really go a lot of different directions with just the imagery, the symbols, the numerology on the card, and the way that it's showing like weathering, like the air.
I
That's all I have to say about
do
that.
love how you put that yin and yang thing in.
Oh, thanks.
Because after staring at my card, only certain cards you can look at go directly split in half
Yeah,
perfectly.
where they like look the same on both sides. Yeah, that isn't usually.
Huh. Anyway, sorry. That just
That's
threw me
right.
off guard. Actually, this card in my decks is a perfect one for an example for this to pull different imageries and why we say if maybe utilizing different decks to get a different perspective is a good idea. On my Celtic tarot deck, she is much more on the darker side. She has the moon directly behind her. She has nothing but dark imagery behind her. And then on my holographic, it's nothing but light, whiteness, happiness, and joy. Whereas, not saying that that's what I get from the card, but the differences between the two, how you can really see a huge difference in between. But just from the Celtic Tarot deck, you can pull from the birds that are down here, maybe the type of bird that's down here, which I'm pretty sure is herons to be exact. Maybe that has a specific meaning to it, or the white dress that she's wearing. Maybe the full moon behind her has a symbolism, or the trees, or the pink, um, the flowers. The word wasn't sitting in my head.
That's right.
Maybe the mountain range behind her you can pull from, or you can go on to hear the pillars, how she's sitting in her stool. Um, the half crescent moon down here with some flowers behind her. All of that you can pull from to get a meaning.
Miranda says, so just really fully trusting your intuition and reading non-traditionally, paying attention to thoughts, sounds, smells, signs, words, etc. Yes. So paying attention to colors, symbols and shapes, numerology, imagery, emotional feelings, scents, and words or messages that are like repeating in your mind. Billy Joe says she really likes the Light Seers deck and she gets a lot out of it. I really like the Light Seers deck also.
I
And
want
Maria's,
one.
oh yeah, it's like really nice. The imagery, I love it. I love it. And I like the balance between like the light side and the dark side. I mean, it obviously leads more towards lighter, but there are darker parts. Maria says sharing that heron symbolism includes elegance, patience, wisdom, messages, self-possession, transformation, and good fortune. That was why Cheyenne and I were really pulling from different decks, just so that way you can see, like, if we were to read it traditionally, then, like, if you were reading wider weight traditionally, then all the cards would be the same thing. Or you could, you know, be reading from, like, the Light Seers deck, like, book that gives meanings versus the wider weight meanings. Those are still technically traditional because they're from the book. But just looking at my High Priestess card versus Cheyenne's High Priestess card, talking about the messages we can get completely different messages from different cards, even though it's technically like the same card.
Yeah.
So I pulled, oh, do you have something else to say?
Nope.
So I pulled the Empress card from the Light Seers deck because I love this card. Originally, the Star was my favorite tarot card, but the Light Seers deck, this card specifically, made it to where the Empress is now one of my favorites also, just because I love the imagery of this card. The embodiment of, like, femininity, I suck at saying that word. Woman power, okay? And the like, Mother Earth, and the tie between, like, the sun and the earth, like, and, like, you have the water over here, and like the way that the beads come down from the sun and wrap around her is like the air pulling the warmth around you. To me, it's like a balance of all of the different elements, and like it really embraces like that feminine nature and like Mother Earth, and kind of fabulous. So, but ways that you could also break down the cards, you could really dive in deeper. There are fish in this water over here, like I was talking about with the beads, the rays of light coming down in the direction that they're going. You could look at her greenery bracelet that she has, the way that her hair is done specifically. We could come down here, we could look at the earth and how it is. We could look at the colors in the background, the fiery colors. Those are some different things we could look at with this card, if you want to show your Empress card.
Actually, I love how you use that card as your favorite. And here's my Empress and my Celtic Tarot.
I'm gonna have to watch this video back so I can see all of your cards.
So, I will send you a picture. It's one of your favorites. I'm pretty sure you've called me out on it as one of your favorites.
Probably.
In my Empress card, you can see how her skirt actually ties into the background of the card, tying her to the earth itself. Which that alone gives a huge symbolism of tying everything together to me. She has the waters flowing from, and I perceive it as an ocean through, you know, to the river through the stream kind of thing. You know, just different things. She has my favorite animal, a penguin. She has a deer and the something on fire. I'm assuming is either a fire itself or in symbolism of a volcano of some sort. There is trees and bushes and some Celtic knots. How her hair is long and the color of her hair, even the vines that wrap through her hair. all of that stands out and brings forth some kind of yep, I lost the word.
That's all right.
Answer to your reading when you're reading it non-traditionally. My
Billy
brain.
Joe says, I read a book about 10 years ago called The White Heron. The symbolism was beautifully captured by the author.
I read that book. It's a really pretty book.
Let's see. So for the Emperor, I pulled 2 cards because they are vastly different. So this card is not from a deck that I own, so I will show you the back and the front, because I have no clue what deck it comes from. I don't own it. But there is like an hat symbol, unfortunately, on the card. So it's probably made by that person.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah, I do like it. I got this in a letter, probably. But yeah, so there's this Emperor card, and then there is this Emperor card. They are vastly different. I could state the obvious. One is female, one is male. This is from the Lightseers deck. But then we can also look at the fact that his is like very like fiery and like stubborn and like dull. And we also have like the chess piece. He's like thinking ahead. He's like strategizing. But she looks very like in tune with nature. She's giving me like lotus flower vibes. They also look like they're very culturally different cards based on like the artwork, like the ram skull and like the checkered floor and the ball and stuff, and then versus like her butterflies and what she's wearing. Like they're vastly different cards. So if I was to do a reading, nothing that I pull non-traditionally from this card is probably going to be the same as this card. They're going to be very different. We could look at this card and look at the moon, the butterflies, her hair, the flowers. We could look at this card, and like I said, we could look at the chess piece. We could look at the wind. We could look at the way the light's pointing at him. We could look at the way that he's ominously looking off to the side. We could look at the ram skull. We could look at the checker pattern floor. We could look at just the position he's sitting in. We could go like that. All right, you can show your Emperor card.
The Emperor card from my Celtic tarot deck. If you want to go off of just his facial expression, the solemn stare straight at you, how he is very much upright in his chair, how the sun is beaming from behind him, glowing down on him and his surroundings, or the forestry that's behind him, the vines that hang down below. You can pick out the yellows and the greens and the blue of his outfit, or the browns of his shoe, or even the type of animal that he is wearing on the top of his head. All of that ties into this card alone to give you
Miranda
some
says
kind
that
of
card feels
aspect.
very bounding to her. Oh my gosh, sorry. Miranda says that the card you're holding up feels very grounding to her.
I love seeing the fireflies down here at the bottom, which I learned they are going extinct.
Oh my gosh, I read that and I was so sad. And I have noticed I see a lot less in my yard. Like I still see them, but they are nothing like they used to be.
It's so sad.
You used to actually maybe be able to see a million fireflies. Not anymore. And if you don't get that reference, I'm so sorry.
All right. The next
So
one we have is the Hierophant.
I pulled the traditional Rider-Waite card for this one. So I figured I wanted to just show, like, not holographic, nothing, just the good old OG Rider-Waite card. And so from this, we could pull the reds, we could pull the yellows, we could also look into the background here, okay? This is another card where you could divide down the middle, but we do have a difference if you divide down the middle. This hand is just holding up while this hand has a staff in it, right? So you could divide it down the middle and you could say it's like the battle between power and like taking like a pause. Like you're like one side of you is like pushing forward, striving for the best, trying to be the best, trying to be the most powerful, while this other side of you is just trying to like pause and like take a moment, and it's like a battle between the two. You could look at it like that from just like putting the card in half. Or we could come down and we can look at the things on their coats. We can look at the key symbology below the Hierophant. We could simply look at the shoes. We could look at all of the crosses that there are. We could pull from the blue color in the background. We could do numerology of, we could do 2, because there's a lot of like, there's 2 people here, there's 2 keys, there's 2 pillars. We could also do 3 because the 3 people. We could even go 5 because of the 2 pillars and the 3 people. You know what I mean? We could pick different numbers off of it based on what we're looking for and what is like reaching out to you.
My
You
turn.
can share those.
The Hierophant in my Celtic Tarot deck is completely different from the traditional. You can see it is a picture of 2 people, what looks like a child and an elderly man picking from the trees. You can gain the white as symbolism, the hoods, or the different. They look like puffy little flowers. To me, it gives me like a peace of mind and the way it feels. The clear skies with some clouds behind it, the nice sun portraying down from and behind them. The old man has a happy smile across his face. He's using a Boline knife that the sun shines off of brightly as he cultivates the different flowers that he is trying to get, which is all different. And you cannot split this down the middle like you can with the Rider-Waite deck at all. Not
You said
even
there's
in
an
the
old
slightest
man and
bit.
a young boy.
Yes, a old man and a young boy.
Maybe, I don't know. This is the vibe I was getting through your card, is like the flowers being planted. Billy Jo says she can't see the card. But the young boy and the old man and the flowers being planted, it kind of like, for me, like shows like just like watching the progression of life, like where he was in the beginning, where he is in the end, still watching the flowers grow. Or you could obviously look at it differently, like a mentor is passing on a message to you, like learning from somebody. That was just for me listening to you yap about the card, though.
I'm trying to see if anybody can see the card yet.
Billy Jo, is it better now? Can we see it now? She says thank you, and that's a nice one.
You're welcome. Sorry, I can't tell very well. It looks perfect on my end.
Yeah, that's the thing that's unfortunate, is Facebook tricks you guys. Like when we're looking at it, it looks like you can see things and you can't. So if you ever can't see the card, definitely comment something. For the Chariot, I pulled 2 cards. I pulled one from the Alice deck and one from the Lightseers deck, just so we could see a difference again. So for the Chariot on the Alice deck, you can obviously see that like she's alone, she's reaching out, she's trapped, trying to like escape. There's like a lot of rain coming down in the background. We have some like big waves.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Before you continue?
Yeah.
Did we skip over the lovers?
Oh my god, yeah. Thanks. There's the lovers. I set the card off to the side. Forgot about it. We'll come back to the Chariot. Here's the lovers. This is the Rider-Waite deck. This is one of the ones where you can, like, it looks like you'd be able to split it, but you can't, because one side is the masculine and one side is the feminine card. And on the feminine card, we have like a lot of like fruition fruits over here. Then if you look at the masculine side, it's like, to me, this is either giving flowers or fire. And I feel like it just depends on the day. Like right now, I'm looking at Billy Joe says she always gets some laughs watching us. Good medicine. Yes, what would it be with Alive with me and Cheyenne if there weren't some giggles in it? But
It's
for the
hard too because we can't see each other, so it's
yeah,
like trying to get the attention of a blind man.
Cheyenne's like, hello, hello, like waving, trying to like grab me really quick. Oh boy. So we can also look at the snake wrapping around the trees. So for this card, like let's say you're a Christian witch. You could probably like get a lot of Christian symbology from this card because like if you're looking at it from that lens point, then we could do like the tree of knowledge, then we could do the snake, and then we could do them, in the garden, and then we could do, God watching over. But then if we weren't a Christian witch, we could look at it like the balance between your masculine and your feminine side. Your feminine side like very like earthy and mothery, but then your masculine side very like fiery and demanding, and trying to find like a balance in between the two. And that's what the peak is in the middle. Maybe you reach enlightenment when you have both sides of your being fully like mastered. It could also be a yin and a yang. When you reach peace between your yin and your yang, you reach your higher being. You could look at it like that. You could go a lot of different ways with that one.
I do love how many ways you can go with that one. Sorry, I just realized that I'm missing a card.
That's all right. I tried to skip it, so that's okay.
You did. You really did. I
I
tried.
said forget that card.
I tried so hard to make sure you would stop.
I told you. And it doesn't help my notes are offline, so I can't see anything that you type. I'm gonna look back at the notes and Shine's gonna be like panicking on the notes, like, stop, wait.
Okay, so since she wants to skip it, but I really want to make sure we have it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing.
I mean, I know you don't like relationship readings, so I was just trying to forget the lover's card.
So in my lover's card, you have the man who is clearly invested in the female that's directly in front of him, and the other female that is pretty much off to the side and behind him, just looking back at him. All three of their expressions alone can give you a different vibe
I'm getting
from
love
the card. It has an icy background behind it that it could give you so many different thoughts, feelings, not sense, yeah, senses is the word I wanted. Uh, anyway, what one is wearing is red robes. The other one is dressed in a white dress. One has the one in the white dress has a dagger of some sort. All of those different things can give you some kind of answer towards what your reading is trying to convey from this card alone.
Doesn't sound like a positive card to me. Sheesh.
Ooh.
I'm getting some icy love triangle backstabbing going on. No, just kidding.
For real though, that's the vibe I get from that card.
Miranda says, ha ha ha, yes, love triangle. Holly says, love that card. Again, I can't see the card, so I'm just basing how I feel off of Cheyenne's descriptions.
I'm just gonna have to send you a picture of all of them at one shot.
Thanks. Well, to the Maria says thruple. See, it could be good. It could be happy. You could be in a happy thruple. Maybe I'm just used to backstabbing people. that's why I went there first. But yeah, see, we can all go different perspectives. It could be a happy thruple, or it could be an angry one. So to the chariot, because apparently I was very excited for that card.
Indeed you were. Indeed you were.
So we have Alice floating adrift by herself. So it could be rough seas. It could be that you are swallowing yourself up. Maybe your own mind is creating so many problems that you're just like, whoop, eating yourself up. Maybe you're trying to look for others to help and you're feeling like abandoned or isolated. Like those are some different things that like you could pull from this card. Or maybe, you know, sorry, I can't give a positive description. I'm not feeling positive about that card. Let's go to a different chariot. Or maybe I'll feel positive. Don't want to lie and give you a description I'm not getting. So for this chariot with the lights ears though, you guys are gonna get tired of me saying this. I really look at this card like a yin and yang card, like a balance card. But it's because we have the white horse and we have the black horse, and they're like, whoops, and they're like running together. But like they're like working the same way. But then we have this person, you know, up here in the light on top of the chariot. And it's like they're rushing towards the goal and they're being like maybe guided by this like a light string that's coming down. But then we have like a couple different light strings that are coming down. So we can look at the colors, we could look at the lighting direction, we could look at the symbology with the black and the white horse. We could look at just the way that the horses are running. We could do, you know, numerology 2 because the 2 horses. We could do numerology 3 because 3 living beings. Just some different things to look at. And Holly says that she loves the Alice in Wonderland copy. I think it's really cute too. Apparently I was really excited to show it.
So the chariot that I have is from the Celtic Tarot deck. It has what I consider like, I don't know how to describe them, but you know those like random stone towers in a circle that have been found all over the world.
Like that episode of SpongeBob where they're all in like a big
Yeah,
circle.
like the episode of SpongeBob. That's a great way to describe it.
When he's
So
lost and he's in Jellyfish Fields and there's a bunch of giant SpongeBobs all standing around and the holes make music, if you were wondering, guys.
so those are in the background behind him. With it looks like he's coming through a field onto a open pathway. He's leaving behind the thick darkness behind him as that light's following him and shining his way forward. You can feel that vibe from this card. You can pick out the blues and the greens and the yellows. Also, a yin and a yang I feel from the card between the dark horse and the white horse. I also almost get a Poseidon vibe from him. What if we're gonna go on a deity side here? Which is completely different from a traditional tarot card, like my holographic card. Here, you can it kind of gives me more of a hospital vibe in the middle, or behind her, him, it. I don't really know what it is,
Holly
to be
said the
honest.
SpongeBob comment had messed you up reading the card for a second, huh? LOL. I like to keep Cheyenne on her toes.
I also get like Egyptian vibes from down below because they remind me of the those headdresses that they wore and the large sphinx thing that sits there that has predated the Egyptians technically. They proved that.
Fact
Not to
drop.
go into history.
As I say, we're dropping fun facts in here now.
I like Egypt in my defense.
Yeah, I know. Whenever I think of that, I always get you vibes.
Okay, moving on.
So for strength, I pulled 2 cards, very similar but still different. So this is the traditional Rider-Waite strength. And then this comes from a different deck. I don't own this deck. I don't know what deck it's from. Here's the back, but here's the front. And you can see how they're very similar, but there's still differences. And so if we're looking at differences, we could really look at the colors. We could look at, let's get a little closer. So we have the yellow color very predominant here. Also trying to slam its mouth shut. That's not nice. We have like very like angel kind of vibes with this like headpiece and this white dress that they're wearing. Then we have some different elements going on down here. We have, oops, we have some like, I don't know why, but these like, it kind of like, the color looks like water, but it like is in the shape of a mountain. So I don't know, snowy mountain maybe. And then we have some greenery going on down here also. Then if we pull this card, right, the outfit is much different. Look at the headpiece that she's wearing, the blue dress with the green bottom. This is not giving angel vibes whatsoever. And then we also have this castle back here. Sorry, I'm not trying to flip anybody off. I just use that finger to point. We have the castle going on this like very rocky mountain. And then we still have some greenery, but just like not as much. And we're still trying to slam its mouth shut, so that stayed. And then also the infinity symbol above the melon, that also stayed. But then the color is different. So you can see how there's just differences in the two cards. Even though they're very similar, there's still differences. And the differences can make a difference in the non-traditional reading that you're getting. Okay.
I pulled the Celtic Tarot deck card, which is all of them. But in here, you can see a woman carrying a apple in her right hand, and next to her, she has I want to say a grizzly bear, could be a black bear, depending on the lighting, depending on your intuition too, I guess. It's chained up around her wrist up to her elbow, so she's walking with it. So to me, it gives me like protector vibes. That alone has symbolism. She's walking through a snowy mountain range. They both have the same symbol and mark on the same side of the right side of their faces. It's a nice red painted mark. Same symbolism. That I could have something to it. She's wearing to me, a Viking outfit, more like a shield maiden type outfit, and I will try to lay this card out nicer for you guys to see. I keep twisting it so I can see it as I give you guys descriptions.
I'm having the same problem.
Yeah, I think that's a good enough. It kind of gives me really good warrior vibes, but everybody can get a different take from it, just like we've been saying throughout the live. All of this ties into how you read and believing in yourself.
Well said. Next, we have the Hermit. I pulled us two cards, Lightseer's Tarot deck and a traditional Rider-Waite deck, just so we can see the difference. And so if you look at the traditional deck, then we have, obviously, we have the hooded masculine figure, we have the staff, we have the light, and then we're walking, and then we have this one little, looks like a symbol in the bottom. But then we can go over here to the Lightseer's deck, and it's a different vibe. We still have the light aspect, okay? We have the light here, but now the light is radiating, like, off of you. Like, you're the light, rather than you're being led by the light. Also, we're on, like, a cliff. We're on, like, this ocean side with a path that led all the way up to it. A very long path. So for me, this card is giving more, like, isolation, following something else. This card to me is more like you made your long journey and now you're being able to just bask in this light. But again, it's different for everybody, but that's just to show how the two different cards can really play a vast difference with how you're getting your message. This live is just going over the different cards and just showing you just the differences and just trying to give you some ideas on things that you can pull.
My Hermit card from my Celtic Tarot, I get a elven vibe from him. A younger elven character carrying a lantern. That gives me more of a self journey, learning yourself kind of vibes. He's surrounded by fireflies. It looks like his path isn't necessarily overgrown, but there is bushes in his way. So that to me shows some kind of obstacles, nothing that you can't overcome. But as you can see, if you look closer in the background, that's all clear. So that shows to me like you've seen he's been working through all of that, and he is clearing his path. There's a lot of deep greens and deep blues and some browns. Those all can be tied together in symbolisms as well.
So for the Wheel of Fortune, I only pulled the Rider-Waite card. And some different things that we can look at is we have a lot of different animals here. We have the snake. We also have different animals in the four corners. We have the clouds. Of course, we have the symbols that are on the wheel itself. Then we could look at this right here. If you're looking at this from a distance, it could look like a snail. But if you're getting like close, it's like obviously not a snail. But it depends on like how far away you're looking at it. We could pull at these yellows. Down here, it looks like they're both like working on, and up here, they're both like reading, they're working on something. So we could pull from those. We could pull from the colors. Let's see. Even if we don't go for the obvious symbols right here on the wheel, we could just look at the symbols of the direction that these are pointing. We have all of the different circles. So there are just a lot of different aspects that we could start looking into this card rather than just a traditional meaning.
On mine, it is from the Celtic Tarot. You have, and I will flip it back around. So you have a couple different animals. She is sitting in a big wheel that reminds me from those old buggies that you used to like when they first were made, kind of buggies. She's sitting directly in the middle of that. She has her cauldron behind her steaming. Kind of reminds me of like a soup. She has a dog, a bunny rabbit, a little otter, a fish, a hawk, a little hummingbird. That's the bird I was thinking of. A chicken. Um, she is sitting in a open dress. She's a very openly pregnant woman as well. She's showing off her belly through her dress. The colors of her dress are red and yellow. That can be brought into the symbolism. She's very happy and content. She has a very bright red curly hair. The sun is very clearly shining in the background. She's sitting in a meadow of some sort with some very nice grass. It kind of looks like the breeze is blowing. The grass is very vibrantly green. All of that can be pulled for your meaning.
Branda says she loves the Celtic deck, and Billy Joe says way back those rough buggy wheels.
Yeah.
For Justice, I have the Lightseers Tarot deck, and I also grabbed just the regular one so you guys can see the difference. But if you can tell, there's a big difference in vibes between these two cards. I'm gonna go into the Lightseers one. Again, we have this duality that you're seeing here. We have the light side, we have the dark side. We have the balance between the two cups on either sides of the sword. We have the clouds that are up above her. So we could look at like the whiteness of the clouds. We could look at any shapes in the clouds. We could see if there's any like images you can see in the clouds. Also, you could note that the sky is not really like a bright blue sky. It's kind of like this mucky green, gray. Balanced with down here, we just have this very like dark color. And then, let's see here. Let's flip it over. You can look at this side, and you can just tell there's the difference in expressions also. So if I was doing numerology, you could pull, you could do 2, you could do 4, you really even do 5. You add the sword in there. But for me, this is a very like balanced duality card. But then if I look at the traditional card, this screams more like basic justice because it kind of looks like somebody that's about to tell you what the fate of the rest of your life is going to look like. Well, this card doesn't give you those vibes.
Sorry, I was taking a drink.
No, no
Um,
worries. No worries, you're good. I didn't say that right.
so on my Celtic Tarot card, you can see a woman in a white dress with a white veil over her face. She has her eyes closed. She's in a total trance of thought and feeling. She holds out the scales, which could give you like Libra vibes if you want to go zodiac. I can get like Anubis vibes from this if you want to go on deity side when he weighs the scale of your heart about before sending you off to where you need to go. In front of her kneels 2 men, one in a blue shirt, one in a red shirt, both kneeling before her with the sword that she holds. It looks like she's emerging from a black hole from a tree, to be completely and utterly honest with you. So that could give you some kind of symbolism. They're definitely within a forest. This could be a life or death kind of feeling. You could get um a split personality because they are roughly the same person, just different shirts.
Ooh, you could do that with the dresses probably showed up too. You could be in
There's
moods.
also flowers down there that could give you a different scent when looking at the card. I feel like the longer you stare at it, the more you can find too.
That's how I get with most cards. The more you look, the more that's there. So for the Hangman, again, light seer and regular tarot. So this is what the regular, like the traditional Rider-Waite deck looked like. I'm gonna go into the light seers one now. So for here, we have a lot of symbols down here that she's very like touching into. We also have a big beam of light right by her face. Then we can look at the position that she's in. It's a lot more like free spirited rather than this like stiff position that's going right here. We could look at her outfit. We could look at the way that these strings are flowing. We could look at her hair flowing. We could look at the way she's touching the water. She has 3 fingers holding up. We could look at that. We could count the number of symbols in the water. We could look at it kind of like element aspects to where we have like the sun, so we could do warmth, very water element. I don't know, maybe like some Poseidon vibes. That's what I got going for that one.
My hanged man is actually different. It kind of more reminds me of a tree spirit just hanging there because the whole body is made of leaves and or branches. If any of you play Skyrim, it reminds me of the tree spirits in that game.
Nice.
They are one of my absolute least favorites to come across. She hangs from a tree branch in a definite autumn day because you can clearly see the oranges and the reds and the yellows of the leaves. a nice clear blue sky behind it. The sun is obviously shining there. A feeling of contentment. This card is a really pretty card. It's actually one of my more favorites from this deck, too.
Nice.
Just trying to work on my computer just to make sure everybody gets a good view of it before I put it down. I think everybody can see it. All right, go ahead.
I am going to wait for you to hit us with the thing. The fun word.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I'm not in my notes. I apologize.
That's okay. It's okay. That's why I let you know.
So, for those of you who are going to join us in the partnership, now I am going to drop our secret word. Do not drop it in our comments. Do not post it anywhere. Do not drop it in chat. Nothing. Our secret word is strawberry moon. STRAWBERRYMOON. Strawberry moon.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So for our death card, this is what it looks like in the traditional deck. So, but if we look at the Lightseers deck, this is the card is actually called Death and Rebirth in the Lightseers deck, but this is what you get. This is a gorgeous card. There's a lot going on in this card. So, this card is not screaming like death isn't like a bad thing. This isn't like this card is very giving me ego death, I'm gonna be honest. So like dropping the need for this like falling into like the mundane cycles and achieving the mundane checklist. And it's kind of like dropping that ego and just really stepping in and being one in nature. We have like the wash of colors over top, which kind of like gives me like Northern Lights vibes. And then fully wrapped up and enclosed, so it's like a genderless, egoless, just embodiment of being reborn with nature is sort of what this card kind of gives me. Billy Joe said, just if you just put the card like right in front of your face. And then Miranda says she loves that card from the Lightseers deck. Before she buys a deck, she always looks at the Death and Tower card to make sure she likes them. Those are two cards that vastly change between decks, so I can definitely understand that. Looking at those cards makes a big difference.
The death card that I have from my Celtic deck is my absolute favorite death card. As you can see, it is a female riding on a raven. The raven is kind of looking off to the left. And she is kind of like screaming to the sky with the full moon. There's also, sorry, I'm turning the card too. You can also see what are they called? They're not pitchforks, but they're the little spiky things that warriors used to run around with.
Spears?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, nice. That was just a random guess.
There's little spears in front of the raven on the ground. And to me, I also don't get death in a bad way vibes from this card. It gives me more of a I'm done with this part of who I am and I'm letting go. I'm letting go of this person and this anger or this sadness kind of vibes.
Billy Joe says where you're holding the card is very good, and Sharon says that she thought my death card kind of looked like heaven, and I can see where you get that. Also, Carol says hello, and that she's going to catch the replay. So hello, and have fun watching the beginning of the replay. Woo! So hopping into Temperance, I grabbed two cards. Cheyenne, I think you'll probably like one of the cards. So I got this one from the Lightseers deck, and this deck, I don't have this deck. It was gifted to me. But these are the two Temperance cards. So we have this one, which is very much like duality, the balance between like the light and the dark, the sun and the moon. We have the angel wings. We have the light up top. We have the balance of the colors. And then we have this man in the middle. But then over here, we have raccoons and wine. We have some tree branches. We have some leaves, some mountains. Like the vibes are mad different between these two cards. If I pulled these two cards in a reading, this is going to be very different than this with what I'm presenting you. This is going to be like a very like balanced maturity coming to understanding. This is probably going to be like, bitch, you need to relax and connect to nature a little bit. And like, those are the kind of vibes I'm going to get from that.
All right.
Oh, wait, sorry. I have one more Temperance card.
You're good. I'm gonna
This
try
is-
to back up and hold out my cards and let everybody tell me when they can see them.
Okay, so drop a comment when you see Cheyenne's cards. Maria says raccoons and wine, love that. So this is the Temperance card from the Alice deck. We have like the box of snacks, and then we have like the potion. We also, again, have the light and the dark. So, and we have the water down here. So you can see some aspects that are similar to other cards, but then obviously it's vastly different as it is the Alice deck. Billy Joe says perfect with your camera, by the way.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna move them. I want you guys to get a good look at them quick, so that way I can talk about it. The one is the Rider-Waite deck, and the other one is from my Celtic Tarot. I'm gonna go over the both of them a little bit. In the Rider-Waite, you can see that the person is definitely an angel of some sort. It is pouring between two different chalices. It stands in a pool of water with a green meadow behind it of fields leading off to the mountains. There's flowers, there's a crown glowing, there's a feeling of contentment on his face. I'm gonna show that a little bit. When you look at colors, the colors you can pull from are greens, the yellow, the red wings, the orangish crown. There's also a radiance of light and coming from behind his head as well. And those flowers are also yellow. And then in the Celtic, it's a complete different vibe. It's a woman in a white dress. You can clearly see her hair is blowing in the wind backwards, like the wind is rushing from the front of her face. She is near a small spring area with a waterfall. The sky is clear. You can see a patch of really pretty flowers off to her side. She's holding her hands out where it looks like there is actually fire coming from her right hand. All of that can be used to help you figure out what it is. That flame that's in her hand, that could maybe, when you pull this card, the first, it gives you a hot vibe, like you literally feel like you're on fire.
So next up we have the Devil. So here's the traditional Rider-Waite, what the Devil card looks like. Here is the Lightseers deck, the Devil. So for this, we obviously have, you know, a shirtless man. We have the pentagram in his chest, and down here we can see this person that's being held on the strings does not look happy. So this card could be taken in a couple ways, you know. We could take it as like the devil is like trying to seduce you. You could take it in like the actions, you know, are causing, you know, the control, the puppetry down here. We could also kind of ignore him in general, and we could look at the pentacle, and then we can look at maybe just like the spidering of his hair going out. We can look at the light bubbles that we're seeing. We could pull from the colors in the background. He also has some other tattoos on his arms, so we could look into those. Or we could come down here and really just focus on this guy at the bottom when we're thinking about this card. In comparison to this card, how we have like the legitimate devil, and then we have the male, and then we have the female, and then we have like the binds and the chains, and it's more of like a obviously traditional representation of the devil.
In mine, on the Celtic Tarot, you can see here it is obviously not the traditional devil himself. You can pull from the colors, like the background is a very vibrant reddish orange. Um, it looks like they're in a pointed, rocked, cavernous area. You can see the what is supposed to be the devil of the card. He has a very long tongue, and attached to the end of his tongue is the rope that holds the two people down at the bottom, the male and the female. That could be more of a tongue-tied situation, or where you are trying to tie too much of your feminine and masculine sides together, and they're not blending the way they need to. Versus from the traditional devil card, that to me doesn't fit this card if you're going directly off of the symbolism itself. He's the devil himself isn't wearing shoes. You can clearly see that he has his legs wrapped in a lace of some sort. He's wearing like a barbarian type outfit. Those things have symbolism to it. His face, how his facial expression are, or the facial expressions of the female and the male down below. Kind of gives me goblin vibes.
I like that. So next up we have the tower. I'm going to go through these next ones a little faster just so we can make sure we stay under the 2-hour limit. But so next up we have the tower. I pulled an Alice card and a Lightseers deck. I don't really love the Alice card for the tower. We could look at, the plants in the background. We could look at her obviously, busting out of the house. We could relate this back to, like, if you actually know the story of Alice, then you could tie that back to that rather than just looking at the card itself also. But I'll just give a quick little pan through of the card, and you can see that there are a lot of different aspects that you could be pulling from this card, whether it be weather, colors, symbols, the clothing she's wearing. So that was the Alice one. And then I love this tower card from the Lightseers deck. We have the animals and the lightning striking the tree in which the animals live. I really like this card. It's a very powerful card. The weather that comes across, the animals, the symbolism, the breaking of the tree. Also, if we just look down at these kind of give me acorns. I think they're acorns, but they could be something different depending on how you're looking at them. So we can look at the different types of plants, the different types of animals. We have butterflies. We have 4 butterflies, so we could look at maybe the number 4. But there's also 2 acorns, so maybe you want to look at the number 2, or maybe you're wanting to look at the number 7 because there's 4 butterflies, 1 squirrel, 2 acorns. So those are some different things that you could look at with that. And then obviously, maybe the lightning is really strong for you. So maybe it's giving you like a deity, like maybe it's, I don't know, giving you like Thor or something. Maybe it's giving you like Zeus. Maybe it's, you know what I mean? You can really just pull whatever it's making you think when you're looking at the card. Even if it doesn't like perfectly align with that deity in the traditional sense, if you're just getting that deity's name in your head on repeat when you're looking at the card, maybe consider that.
On the Celtic deck, it's not necessarily a tower itself in the traditional sense. It's more of an archway. and the top of the archway is breaking from the strike that's coming down. You can see the collapsing of the top. It's directly over the middle of a path. You can see the path clearly goes right through it. There's mixtures of purples and pinks and whites. Some greens in there on the archway itself. You can look at the different skulls that are in there, the different knot and work that's on along the archway. But this alone, with it not being an actual tower, gives it a whole different vibe in of itself as well. Moving right
So
along on.
with the star, I brought 3 cards. This is from the Lightseers deck. You can look at her dress with all of the different colors. She is barefoot, the colors of the sky behind her. And this is not like a traditional star in a sense, while there are little stars around it. So it not having the main traditional star could be really something to pull into when you're looking at this Lightseers card. This one is closer to the traditional deck. It is not the traditional deck. I do not own this deck, but it's very similar to the traditional card. We have the naked female, we have the stars, we have the pond, we have her reaching down into it. But this is a lot more of a traditional look. And there's still a lot of different things that we could pull from this card. And then here's the Alice star. And we have a star up here, but we have a rose. It's very feminine. And then we have, you know, the blue over here and the little stars as well. That's sort of mirroring the more traditional look, while the Lightseers didn't look like that at all. And then you can go ahead.
On the Celtic deck, also is slightly close to the original one, but it's not necessarily a pond. She is by some kind of body of water. She has stars around her, but then it looks like there's a wish, like she's blowing a wish out into the sky, because you can see like little light particles. You can see the wind is blowing in that direction that she's making that wish. All of that gives me different vibes. I can pull different things from that. Even the shapes of the stars themselves too could be used, or the colors of the flowers on the field, or the little tattoos that are on her body as well.
So the moon, we have the traditional, the very like the balance again, where you split the card in the middle. We have one side with the face, one side with the sun. We have the 2 towers, the 2 animals, the river dividing, and we have the good old classic lost in the water. So that would be like a traditional moon card. And we could pull from a bunch of aspects. We could pull from this, we could pull from the colors, we could pull from the duality, we could pull from the different colors, we could pull from the splitting, we could pull from the grounds, the elements, the symbolization of the creatures on the card. This is not a deck that I own. This is the back, this is the front. This is this moon card where we have the moon, we have snakes, and we have other symbols alongside of the card. So there are different aspects in which you could look at. Here's our Alice moon. While there is not an actual moon in the card, she's looking up at the Cheshire Cat, which is representing the moon in this card. So this card is vastly different from the other cards. So you would have a lot of different things to pull from it. And again, if you're familiar with Alice's story, you could really pull some of the characteristics of the Cheshire Cat into looking at this card. You could pull from the relationship between Alice and the Cheshire Cat, as well as just pulling from the different symbols and colors and feelings that the card gives you.
In the Celtic Tarot, you can see it gives me more of like a crone vibe, or some elderly witch vibe holding over top of the full moon that oversees the valley of water that's going out into the vast ocean. You can see, you can pull from the different blues, you can pull from the archways, or the land, any of the little stars. Maybe you get a different picture in there. All of that can be used to help you.
to the Sun. This is not a deck I own, but this card does give some words at the bottom, but it does have some plays on the traditional Sun card. We have the wall, we have the white horse, we have the child, we have the sun, we have the sunflowers, which is all similar to the traditional Sun card, which I didn't pull that to show you, but those are on the traditional Sun card. But so there are a lot of different aspects, again, from this card we can pull from. We could pull from the flag, we could pull from all the sunflowers, we could pull from the colors, we could pull from the animals. This is the Alice Sun card, so there is no sun on this. Oh, yes, there is on the Big Liar. But it's like not like a full sun, it's like just a part of a sun, and then the main part is whether you take this as a big apple, a big heart, or a big flower petal will be up to personal interpretation. But then there are a lot of things alongside Alice and on the table in front of Alice that you can look at. You could count the number of teapots. You could count the number of strawberries. There are a lot of different things that you can pull out of these cards.
We're getting really close to our 2-hour mark.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like going quickly.
I'm sorry, what?
We did start a little late, so that helps.
Yeah. Sorry, I just keep watching the time tick. In mine, I pulled both the Rider-Waite and the Celtic. In the Rider-Waite, you can see what she was talking about. Just for clarification, in my sun, it is a stag with the sun directly in dead center above his antlers. He has fairies surrounding him. There's different Celtic symbols in there. There's different flowers, different colors. All of that can be pulled from this card.
So with Judgment, I'm just going to show you the two cards. I have the Lightseers deck and I have the Alice deck. So these are the two cards that I pulled for Judgment. We've been talking a lot about things to pull from the cards, so at this point, I think you guys get it. But I just want to show you two Judgment cards. So those are the two I pulled.
The two Judgment cards I have are the Rider-Waite and the Celtic Tarot, completely different. All I want to point out is that you can definitely see that one has to do with watery symbolism and the other one has more of an angel-esque vibe.
So for the last card, we have the World. I only pulled the Rider-Waite card, so I will just let you guys look at this while Cheyenne talks about her World card.
In my Celtic World card, it is the stag with some kind of bird. I want to say a hawk. It has a nice one of those Celtic bracelets that wraps around them as a whole. You can see sun rays coming down off of it. There's a big tree. Things are hanging off the antlers of the stag. You can pull greens and yellows and blues. You can see purples. You can get different scents. All of that can be pulled from this card.
So that concludes going over the basics and the major arcana cards and the non-traditional. So now we are heading on to our tarot partnership program information for the next partnership. If you have any questions about anything discussed in the live, please go ahead and drop the comments. But the next program, the prompt that we are doing for the partnership is, what advice can your future self offer you? There is no spread, but we are obviously challenging you to read with a non-traditional reading style. And we always ask for a minimum of 3 cards.
Sign-ups are going to run from tonight, the 22nd, through June 28th. The names will go out June 29th. Partnership will begin June 29th and run through July 10th. Feedback will be due July 12th.
Quick restatement of the dates. Sign-ups are tonight, June 22nd, 2025 through June 28th, 2025. Names will go out June 29th, 2025. At any point in time during the day, you will know because you will receive your name and the group chat will go crazy. It might be later at night on the 29th. It just depends on how Cheyenne and I's day is going on the 29th. The partnership will run from the 29th when you get your name and the group chat pops off through July 10th, 2025, and feedback will be due by July 12th, 2025.
A quick recap of the rules and requirements for the tarot partnership program. If you sign up, you are committing to perform at least one read with your partner. You have between June 22nd, 2025 through July 10th, 2025 to both complete your read. You are agreeing to be privately messaged by whom you get partnered with. You must give each other feedback on the reading, what resonated and what doesn't fully make sense. If you could get more clarity on something, reads can be done via Facebook video chat or just messaging. If you do not complete your read, you cannot sign up for the next partnership sign up. We will be checking. If you do not complete your read 3 times, you will no longer be able to sign up for the partnership program. You acknowledge and agree to be added into a group chat with all participants and friends for communication purposes. The group chat is mandatory in order to participate. You are agreeing to be in the group chat and stay in the group chat. If you need or wish to leave, please let an admin know. You are required to answer all polls, icebreakers, and interactive questions that are dropped in the group chat throughout each partnership. You must keep up with your communication with your partner as well as Sarah and I. Remember to be respectful and courteous to each other in the group chat. The chat is there to communicate, learn, share, and be a safe haven to each practitioner. You are required to fill out the feedback link at the end of the program. The link to this will be dropped in the group chat the day after the partnership concludes. There is a 3-strike rule in place for the Tarot Partnership Program. Strike 1, sit out for the next partnership and complete a trial read with Sarah or I. Strike 2, sit out for 2 partnerships and complete a trial read with Sarah or I. Or strike 3, you will no longer be able to participate in the Tarot Partnership Program.
Our next Tarot Live is going to be July 13th, continuing the series on the non-traditional reading style, and we'll be going over 2 of the minor arcana suits. Billy Joe did say she can do 2 partners if needed, and Miranda, how to let us know if you want to have more than 1 partner is just to message Cheyenne or I, drop it in the chat here, or put it in the group chat if you are in the group chat already, and we just keep a list of people's names who said that they can do more than 1 person if necessary. Sorry for the max speed, but there is a cap of 2 hours.
All right, and with that being said, I am going to stop this live. I encourage you guys to just keep on commenting. We will get back to you guys. Have a great rest of your evening, ladies.
Blessed
and
be.
blessed be.